After a loss on Mirage, Fnatic live to fight another day. The Swedes steel train 16-11, and with that, they are taking us to a third. Inferno is just around the corner, but before that, we have got to break this one down. And Potter, OG definitely didn't make it easy in the first half, but perhaps coming onto that CT side for Fnatic, it was more of the Swedish side that we were hoping for.
Yeah, it definitely was. And yeah, there were some moments there for Fnatic that were a bit sloppy, you know, especially on the T side of things in the very beginning. I was a little bit worried. And you're absolutely right. OG did everything correct. This time around, though, Fnatic, they had an answer. They were able to shut down Alexi B. He didn't have as much freedom of movement that he had the last time around that these two teams met. But I got to shout out Fnatic because their pistol round on the T side in the first half, they rolled back their years, man. They for sure went back to the first few pages of their strat book, because that pistol, I actually called that pistol on train back at ESWC 2006. So it was a long time ago when that happened. And you know, that strat is great, but generally right now in 2020, you don't expect the defenders to bite so hard. But OG, they fully rotated all 5 members outside yards. So really, it was a beautiful play coming up from Fnatic.
Yeah, definitely rolling back the years a few with that one. But it's beautiful to see, isn't it, Maui? You know, we were saying about Fnatic coming into this, they might have to just shake up their game, particularly considering the loss they had against OG on this last time. So where were the kind of strengths for you coming into this one?
Ooh, I gotta say the rifle work for them just really started popping off in that first half. Or it felt like OG were starting to put their foot on the throats of Fnatic at a lot of those choke points. Potter, before the game, alluded to the fact that it was really tough for Fnatic to find that kind of map control early on. But this time around, they did a really good job fighting for T-Con space, that ladder control. And once Brolin got situated in ladder, that was, it was tough for OG to fight back at that point. The entries he was finding from that position were so quick and flashy. It was really impressive to see, but man, it was golden actually for me. He was the lowest on the scoreboard, but he had some hugely impactful kills, some entries onto that A bomb site that just opened things up in a way that I just don't think OG were ready for. And that was a great bounce back game for him, because map 1, golden, he didn't look very good, but map 2, I've got to hand it to him. He found some openings that were really big for his team, but all in all, Fnatic, they really turned the page. They're not looking back after that first map, I can tell.
Yeah, I love that you bring up Golden there, because some of those adaptations that we saw in the mid-rounds, Potter, was so crucial for Fnatic going forward, right? That's something that we've known Golden for a while.
Absolutely, for sure. And I mean, 7 rounds on the T side of things, you absolutely take those if you're Fnatic, especially because Fnatic's CT defenses were fantastic. Sure, they lost to Pistol, they lost to Force Buy, so it made that scoreline a little lopsided once again at 10-6. But as soon as those guns came out, and Maui mentioned it, the rifle work, Krimz, my God, he is on fire. He was warming up on Mirage on this train. He absolutely popped off, and Golden holding down the fort time and time again towards that inner. So it was a fantastic defense coming up from Fnatic.
And of course, we will be going to a third map, and that map is going to be Inferno. It's an interesting one to be landing on, isn't it, guys? Because it's a hotly contested ground for both of these teams, Maui. So I'm wondering your feelings coming onto this, considering it's a map that we see both teams playing quite a lot.
Yeah, last time they faced off against each other, Fnatic were looking really strong on it. They got a little bit sloppy at the end because they were actually up 15-7. They could have closed it out right then and there, but OG called it back a little bit there. They brought it to a 16-11 scoreline, and it kind of deflated Fnatic that last time they faced off at IEM New York. But this time around, I'm pretty sure Fnatic are feeling themselves in a really impressive way. The way that they were able to string together 10 rounds in a row on the CT side. I mean, they were playing some excellent Counter-Strike, and it was sometimes just great early rounds, great late rounds. I mean, it felt like they could do no wrong on that CT side. So if they bring that kind of style and just level of play to Inferno, I feel like they can close it out here. But OG, they always have a couple tricks up their sleeves, Alexi B in particular.
Yes, a big one indeed. And it's been a fantastic game so far. But of course, this isn't the only match that we have going on right now. There's, of course, multiple other matches going on over our Group B and C streams. Of course, we literally just saw Big managing to 2-0 FaZe. That's pretty crazy, Christine, considering FaZe have just come off that win at IM New York.
That is crazy. You know, that was a huge test for FaZe as well, to come in and actually beat out Big, who we know in this online era has absolutely made a statement for themselves over the summer. So really to cross that hurdle just last week and then coming through in this week, not being able to maintain that win streak for themselves, it's a little disheartening, but we're only in the beginning. We're in day one here. So certainly a lot more matches to look forward to for sure.
It's only day one and it's already been delivering. We are going to a third and it's coming in the form of Inferno. Vince and Tom will be here to guide you through after this.
Nico, welcome to my chat room. How are you today?
Hey, I'm fine, doing all right.
So I'm going to be doing some very important questions with you right now. They're going to be quick fire. So I'm going to kick off with talking or texting on the phone.
Talking or texting? It's texting, 100%.
Who do you text the most?
I don't know, just random people. I mean, not random, but like I don't have a particular person that texts the most. It's just a couple of people at the same time.
And now, if I was cruel, I would ask you to read out one of those messages, but I'm not there with you, so I can't force you to. So instead, I'm going to ask, what was the last song you listened to?
The last song I listened to? I don't know, let's say that I listened to What's Popping. So that was the last song that I listened, that I remember of though.
What's Popping? Favorite holiday destination?
Favorite holiday destination? That had to be Ibiza in Mexico. Like Ibiza, when it comes to like partying and stuff like that, it's Ibiza. When it comes to like vacation, like taking the time off, it's Mexico. So I don't know what you guys are looking for.
Who is the best player to go on vacation with?
The best player to go on vacation with?
Or
I haven't gone with many players, but yeah, I've gone with Yanko. That was a pretty cool time in Mexico and Ibiza, so I have to choose him.
What body part wouldn't you mind losing?
What body part I would mind? I would not.
You wouldn't mind? Yeah, like if you lost a leg, would you be okay with it, or do you need your legs?
Can I just choose like a toe or something?
To be fair, I think you can. That qualifies. Which toe?
Then I would choose a toe if I can.
There you go. Okay, a toe, any toe, it's fine. Favorite junk food?
Favorite junk food? I would have to choose pizza, I guess.
Invisibility or super strength?
Invisibility.
Would you rather have a night in or a night out? Like, I know the answer to this one because I know you, Nico, but would you rather a night out?
Why do you even ask?
Have you ever worn socks with sandals?
Have I ever... The sandals... Like socks and sandals at the same time?
Yeah, it's horrible, isn't it? But have you ever done it?
Is. I think maybe when I was a kid, like when I was very young, maybe I've done it, but I don't remember. Like, let's just say I didn't.
Big dogs or small dogs?
Big dogs.
Are rats cute?
Are the rats cute?
Yeah.
Hell no.
Can you make a high-pitched sound?
Can I make what?
A high-pitched sound.
I don't know what kind of sound is that. So
like
no.
high, like...
No, I can't.
Can you make a low sound?
No, I can't.
Here we go, Tom. It comes down to this. Third map, Inferno. I don't think I could have really put two maps and two situations better together, honestly. This is going to be great, and I just hope it delivers. If it's a complete blowout now, Tom, I'm going to be really disappointed. So come on, please, give us a great map.
Sorry, it's not down to me, Vince. A lot of pressure to put on my shoulders. But yeah, no, I completely agree. I said in the break that if this one is a bad map, I am going to cry. So that's on you, Fnatic and OG. You know, if you want to see a not so young man cry, then you can make this a stomp. But realistically, it shouldn't be. This is both of the team's best maps. There's a lot of parallels that you can play. You're going to have aggressive AWPing a lot of the time when JW does decide to pick it up. But more importantly, both Golden and Alexi B actually play fairly pivotal roles. So they like to go for these challenges into Banana quite a lot of the time. And rotations, again, are going to play a really big part. We saw it on Train, and Train a lot of the time can be fairly static. You have teams like committing into the sides and they go, okay, this is where we're going. This is where we decide to take our final fight. Inferno, not so much. Like, you play the mid rounds all of the time. That's why a lot of the time we talk about Inferno being very slow, because it's very late for where you make your decisions. The other thing I'm excited about, and it's just going to be one word, Brolin.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I would also add another Swede into the mix. He doesn't always have necessarily like the biggest stats, but I always love watching JW play on Inferno as well, man. I feel like his AWPing around middle in particular, he just goes for the wackiest, craziest plays, and it's always super entertaining to watch. So Inferno, third map decider, Fnatic starting on the T side, OG on the CTs. They haven't actually gone for a kit, but they have gone for a CZ in the hands of Mantu. Very interesting.
Yeah, this is something I've seen a little bit more regularly, is like the CZ raid boss. Not quite as good as what I would call the Tech 9 raid boss, but we'll see if it works out. But this is just as simple as it gets. There was a really complex pistol round in the last map coming out from Fnatic. This time, rush B, don't stop, bomb down, retake begins.
And it's a retake, as I highlighted before, without a kit. They didn't have one coming into the round. It was only a smoke. They went for a bit more firepower, and they could end up being punished for that. I do wonder, without a kit, yeah, I was about to say just before going up Banana, do they even bother going for this? It's like, you know, the chances of getting back onto B are very slim. Without a kit, even less so. And you get the chance to save these Kevlar. Not one of them has taken any damage, so collectively, $350 a piece to upgrade to head armor. You could actually get a pretty damn good second round buy if you just give this up. And that's what they're going to go for.
Yeah, definitely not the start we were necessarily hoping for, but I like that Fnatic are not going to change too much up. Like, when we looked at the T side of the last map, it was very brawly, I think is the best way to put it. It was like someone had thrown the first punch in a bar and they were going to have the last one. And well, they definitely did. There's no arguments there. But they've continued it in this map, an aggressive play towards the B site. We are going to see, as you mentioned, a fairly decent second round purchase. In fact, MBK is even going to have a FAMAS pulled into this one, Mantu as well, MP9, Valde with another. And well, again, Banana control is the first point of contact for Fnatic, but it's not quite as fast a rush this time as well. This time they have a fairly big advantage. 3 rifles invested. Sure, you still have the 2 standard SMGs, but they have a lot to lose in this round.
Yeah, that is the advantage of swallowing your pride and saving 3 guns. For 3 players, I should say. It hurts at the time, but you just got to realize that it sets you up for maybe success. And Valde with his MP9 spraying out through Golden shuts him down. They need to go retrieve the bomb, which is back on the T steps, and it will be Flusher that goes to pick it up. The rest of his teammates making inroads through middle, which has been vacated from the CTs, but they can lock into position with Issa coming through on Speedway. But it's an AK at range for JW, and he's against the FAMAS and an MP9. So although OG do get the first kill going their way, this is going to be a very difficult hole to pull off. And it stumbles at the first hurdle. NBK's FAMAS now is all that remains. And if he can post up a little bit of threat, draw away a couple plays, focus towards Pit, maybe the rest of his teammates can get in close, but OG are hemorrhaging frags, hemorrhaging players, and MBK does at least put one up, but he gets shut down afterwards, and he's the last line of defense, the last player. Fnatic take a 2-0.
Started to look like Fnatic needed to call some sort of pest control. Like, he just managed to survive in one of the walls, just that they weren't quite able to clear it out. Like, it took them so long, but it turned out in the end that they didn't really need it. Unfortunately, none of the rest of the players had enough utility to clear out the site. It's where you'd normally see a Molotov or 2 dropped over from afar, but obviously, being this a 4-spy round for OG, unable to hold on. Definitely, if you're a Fnatic fan, that was maybe a little bit too close for comfort for what was a second round buy. And now you've got the firing squad. All the players at top mid, it's really not going too well, and Brolin decides, okay, this is a money-making scheme for me. He'll boost his finances, and now they go into the next one with what will probably be a bit of a bonus.
Oh yeah, especially with a team like Fnatic, you better believe they're holding on to these SMGs. They're happy with this. It just makes them more mobile. But I think OG will have a good idea as to what's coming up. Like, they're going to know there's a likelihood of at least one Mach 10 in play, probably two. May not realize it's a UMP, but they need to play accordingly. So here comes I believe a tactical, or may have actually been a technical, which has now been reverted. So we'll be getting back underway very soon. Mantu's gone for the AWP. It is at the cost of any utility or a kit. And Alexi has enough money to dip down to a kit and pick up an AWP. So OG, very good buy, but they need to be able to post up some rounds soon. Otherwise, Fnatic will be off to a pretty insurmountable start.
And this was enough for them on the T side of the last map. Like, they got off to a good start, and then, well, although there was a streak of rounds coming up for OG, it almost felt like there was one coming at all times for Fnatic. They never really let the pressure off Golden. He's only got an SMG to lose. This is a spicy play. Sneaks through the smoke. That's one member of this B-site defense down. But after follow-up nades, they actually don't opt to play off of this. And well, it's not an op, it's an AWP that Brolin has walked into. It's only an SMG loss, so for Fnatic it isn't the end of the world, but I'm sure they would have loved to capitalize off that man advantage.
Yeah, I love the idea as well, Tom. We were just saying it before. You've got two SMGs. They throw both of them basically into the lion's den and just hope for the best to get one trade out. And now Valda has gone down. A lot of damage inflicted, but nowhere near enough. And OG already have to tap out. They pull off the life support. They give up the fourth round. And Fnatic, with two SMGs, are able to trade up to an M4 in Golden. Brolan can easily replenish the gun. They may very well just pick up an AWP and put it in the hands of JW. The Swedes are off to a cracking start now, Tom.
And something interesting to mention as well, like we talk about this matchup in terms of the series itself. Now, OG, they have won every single one. However, they haven't beaten them on Inferno. That's been the map wins that Fnatic have actually taken away both times. It was ESL Pro League Season 11. It was a 16-12 in favor of Fnatic. And then just a few days ago in IEM New York, Europe, where it was a 16-11 in favor of Fnatic. All the other maps were Mirage and Train in the majority, and even a Dust 2 in the mix as well. So this is the one map that, although very, very good for OG in isolation, in terms of this actual matchup, it's not gone that well.
The plot thickens. Very good point to raise. So OG, what did they learn from that previous loss? Not too long ago, will be fresh in their mind. I'm sure this is not the start that they were hoping for, especially considering that even with those saved guns, it's still not ideal. Plenty of utility lacking on a few players. Molotovs do get extinguished down on Banana, keeping JW up close on logs. Pace certainly slowing down. It's what we expected on Inferno though, Tom. There's a lot of flirtation between the teams over banana control. JW gets tagged. I believe that was while Alexi was leaping into the air. Tagged him down to 46, but it's ended a bit of a stalemate with the CTs backing off.
And the interesting thing is, like, while this is all going on, you've still got Brolin consistently probing in towards this A side. That has become his role often on this map. Like, you're going to see him play pit and balcony throughout this matchup. MBK, that is perfect timing, and he's seen nobody else. That gives them the call that this is going to be a B play, but it's down to the two B site players to do the majority of the work. Golden finds a trade back. Alexi B yet to frag, but he's actually just patiently waiting. Some spam there could have easily net him 2 kills, and MBK tries to take the initiative, but this is now falling apart for Fnatic. 2 players remaining, Krimz and Golden. Golden on just 16 HP and a mountain to climb.
Mountain ahead of him, gets out the hiking boots, but they don't fit. And now MBK, oh, that wasn't too far off. You know, Krimz nearly transferred into a second. It is a costly round, and at least Fnatic get a bomb plant, so they can keep that money going forward. And let's be honest, after 4-0, their funds are just fine. So, OG, yeah, you got yourself around, guys. Well played. It was at the cost of 2 players, but let's see if they can actually connect the dots and start to get some consistency on their CT half.
Well, yeah, that's the most important thing now is that this doesn't just end up as a one and done. We've seen it a few times where OG weren't really able to build up mountains of cash, and it meant that we saw less and less of the Man2 AWP. I like this though from Issa. In a cagey round situation, they're taking a fairly big risk, sending him into middle. The battle for Banana though ensues, and Issa has managed to catch a kill. Now the offense is split in their gaze. They've had to look in multiple different angles, and they've been caught all over the shop. It's left on to Flusher. We're only, what, 30 seconds into the round? And he's the last man standing with 16 HP.
How does that medicine taste, Fnatic? You've been doing that to OG over the duration of the day. How does it feel? Probably not
doing it
too
to people
great.
for years.
Exactly. But now OG give them a taste of their own medicine, and it turns out it was bitter after all. Flusher, as Tom highlighted, incredibly low HP. One bullet will finalize him, so we'll at least try and take some players out of the round before he inevitably falls. There's the one. Nice try from Issa, but ultimately Flusher was too quick, and Issa was one of the weakened players on OG anyway, so surplus for requirements. If Flusher were to just try and save this AK, they can buy again, and it's Brolan that's down to a very low amount of money that could maybe prosper from this. Additionally, OG, 3 players easily can rebuy. It's more about MBK and Man2. It's a bit more of an issue. So I'm curious if they even attempt to rush down and take him off the table anyway. They may just let Flusher live.
Yeah, I think on most maps you'd see more of a hunt, but Inferno, like, there's too much reliability on utility for it to really be worthwhile. And in fact, he's even just going to go down at the end. It's not the biggest problem for Flusher because he's got enough money that he can drop a gun anyway. Krimz has insta-bought the Krieg, though. That's intriguing. And it ends up heading into the hands of Brolan. I think that was a misbuy. Because I don't know why he would drop a Krieg to then receive an AK from Flusher, unless they've done some incredible maths in their heads that works out better for utility if he does that, which is also possible.
There's a statistic that MBK won't be wanting to look at. 0 and 9, and pretty much dumpstered by Brolan, 6 and 0 in opening duels. Speaking of the SG wielder, I don't think he even has like a fantastic spawn. At first I thought, well, maybe he's got a great spawn for middle and he's going to try like a cheeky one-tap or something. But yeah, I may very well go along the same lines as you, that it may have been a mispurchase. It happens. These things happen.
I will say, looking at it now, it did work out better to allow Flusher to get more grenades. And Brolan is someone who has been known for these scoped weapons. In fact, when the nerf came out, I'm pretty sure he was joking about it more than anyone, that they've just nerfed him. So I don't know. I want to kind of give them the benefit of the doubt that was actually just them working out their economy quite well. But either way, it doesn't really matter. We'll see if he actually does anything with it. That's the real play, whether it was intentional or not. Now, Fnatic, a flying start. 4 rounds on the T side to go off with is not bad, but OG are very quickly bouncing back into this one. The last 2 rounds have looked good. The last one, in fact, was even pretty damn clean and has built up some extra money for them. What was initially some very fast-paced rounds has gone back to a more classic style of Inferno. A lot of utility being expended just to clear out positions in top mid, trying to deny any early aggression. But the fact is, Man2, he's going to go hunting. Brolan's even waiting for him with the SG. That's where this gun actually has its benefits, when you're just holding an angle with it. Well, even then, Man2's too quick.
Rapid reaction speed. MBK hoping they lined up for his AK. They very nearly did. Although damage is distributed across the Flusher, it won't be enough to take him off. Man2 going in for his second, and now Issa using the graveyard smoke to come in for 2 massive kills. On the prowl for a third, Golden's taking damage through the smoke, and although the AWP-wielding Man2 was thinking of pushing through, I believe he heard that Golden was being tagged in amongst the smoke and just changed his avenue. Regardless, though, Fnatic do concede.
I think you just have to talk about the levels of Man2's gameplay since joining this roster. Like, I got to see him play in alternate attacks, and he was definitely good. Like, most people don't get to see like a lot of sort of the lower tier Counter-Strike, but I got to be involved in it a fair bit around the time that he was coming up, and he's a talented player, no doubt. The level he's hit in this team is something completely different. It's super enjoyable. He was able to regress in that position versus Fnatic, take a fight against a player who was waiting for him to do that, and then still hold the line all the way through the round. Impressive stuff. And, well, no many people will mention the fact that, oh, you know, British flag, whatever. I'm taking it, man. I think we deserve it, especially now with Cloud9 starting to like pick up a couple of Brits along the way. Good time to be a Brit.
We've got to jump on any scrap we possibly can, Tom. You know.
Exactly.
That's
why we claimed Andy Murray in tennis. If he wins, he's English. If he loses, he's Scottish. That's how it works.
Well, Fnatic, weary of a potential banana push, may very well be punished by it, but it seems like they'll bypass this as a result of their aggression. But they're walking into the man of the hour, man 2, who I'm not sure how that didn't kill Flush. Surely gets punished. Flusher takes his head off.
Oh, no.
He switches to a grenade at the worst possible moment. He doesn't get killed. But considering that Fnatic came into this round with basically nothing, this is another one of those very sketchy scenarios that we saw OG fall prey to on Mirage multiple times. But here's where the wraparound for Volder is looking so very deadly. But his teammates are dying on the site. Tom, I don't know what the hell I'm witnessing.
There was only like 12 seconds left where they pushed in. All they needed to do was survive, but it slipped away. And well, Issa can't really face too much into this. Valde has to catch someone making a mistake. Now, Brolin, sure, he has an AK. He also doesn't have any armor. They're giving it up. Trying to get rid of all the guns. I respect the effort to go through, but I'm genuinely gobsmacked. I can't believe that round slipped away from them. Like, fair enough, the initial kills, I was like, okay, that's gone very badly. Like, a missed shot from Mantu, I was just crediting him. Of course, it happened straight after. Fair enough. But the fact that then, like, as said, it got down to 12 seconds or something like that, 15 at most, and then they go running in, and they still lose the round. I don't know what just went wrong for OG, but that is not one that you want to be losing, especially when you're on the CT side, especially as you've just been building up money, and more importantly, getting the momentum in their favor, which, if we've noted anything from this series so far, getting that confidence rolling is so important.
Yeah, it just feels like the ultimate combo breaker, because they lost the first 4 rounds. They then get 3 in a row, and you're thinking, all right, here we go. To lose a round like that, their economy's on the back foot, momentum starts to shift away, and if Fnatic can now start to go on their own spree, which they're starting off beautifully onto Mantu, OG may go back to rue those missed opportunities come the end of this best of 3, but Valda at least holds in with the AK-47 and gives OG a chance.
Fnatic more than happy to patiently wait for the right moment. It's left LXCB with a solo hold on the B site. Something he can do very well, but the rotation's going to be few and far between. And in fact, a single flashbang has gone over Banana, and that's pulled Valde away. The question is, though, do Fnatic actually read this right? Because that's the main problem. This, again, comes down to the battle of the brains. A second flashbang over Banana. I think that's Golden just trying to play with the emotions of LXCB at this point. But you can see on the map, he's starting to get suspicious. Throwing out a few nades of his own, even the spot coming out from Valde, and they've still seen nothing on Banana as a smoke falls. I imagine sooner rather than later, someone has to run the gauntlet back.
Time ticking away, ebbing in favor of OG and MBK alongside Issa, vanquishing and banishing Fnatic as they try to rip forward. They're ripped out. MBK, oh, he's been put down by Krimz, who spins into action a 2v4. Now not only winnable from Fnatic, but potentially in their advantage. However, Valda's got the first and the second, and OG make the most of that valiant hold on A. And they do instantly retort after a very disappointing loss in the round prior. They managed to connect the dots once more.
This is feeling shaky as well. I think both teams with the pressure on, like Valde makes an all-in play there. He's basically fighting a 1v2 because his teammate's still very far away. Of course, he wins it, fantastic, but there's another world where Krimz clutches that out, and that's not a world that OG fans want to be living in right now. Still, though, they get the job done. The other thing as well is you have to talk about how Fnatic did a very good job of faking out their initial push, but they still couldn't break that A site hold, which that's a very good sign. Like if Issa's performing, if MBK's alongside him, well, OG can definitely bring this back.
A scathing passage of play on the Swedes, but they do at least get a 1-for-1. Lot of damage through the smoke. The downside is, even though they traded 1-for-1, they lost a player beforehand, so they still are 2 players down overall, with Krimz on 13 HP. And a second player for OG now transitioning and rotating towards the B site. Smokes being tossed in, looking to expunge these B defenders. Flashbang also is good, but not enough to really force away the CTs. Alexi stuck on the site alone. Mantu, wrong side of the smoke as far as he's concerned, but Alexi getting the 50-50 encounter in his favor. Brolan checks the wrong angle. JW tries a cheeky knife and gets punished. He wishes he had a katana rather than a knife there, but it's 5-5.
Did he think Alexi B was low, or did he genuinely just try and like knife him in the back while jumping around the corner? The sheer audacity of this man is beyond, I think, anyone else on planet Earth, but definitely enjoyable to watch. That round, of course, was just some pistols. This is where the going gets tough once again. Mantu, confident peek, but the counter flashes will leave him blind, and actually he's coming under a fair bit of pressure from grenades. In fact, they've just run through Arch. They've completely gone. They're just running back around. They're going to try and pressure onto the B site. Alexi B is finally going to work out where it's coming from, but in the meantime, Brolan, he's found an entry onto A. This is such a horrible hold at the moment from OG, but Issa at least catches off that one man. They're ready for Valde this time. Fool me once, it's not happening again. And now Alexi B has 4 men running into his position, and he is completely surrounded.
Alexi against the world, and the world will finally win. Issa and MBK. I feel like if Issa gets that kill, they 100% go in for this retake. The fact that he's missed his chance suggests it will be a save instead. They can buy easily, but it just means their economy for the rest of the half is in better shape. So Fnatic regained the lead again. This game has been a yo-yo, Tom, just constantly up and down between the two teams. It is so hard to elect who is going to come out ahead.
That from Flusher peaked that with 22 HP.
It's outrageous.
That's the sort of play that makes your butt cheeks clench. Like it's just like, why are you doing that? Like, as you said, if Issa gets that kill, it's game on. Now, luckily, Flusher doesn't actually go down, but it makes you uncomfortable. You can see Nathan just waiting, hoping for some exit frags, but they're not going to run in his direction. And that's the sort of play that I don't know, again, if that's like just a on-the-fly call or if that's a strategy coming out from Fnatic. If it's a strategy, then that must be a direct read to something they've spotted, because they spotted Mantu peeking mid, obviously with the flash. Did they then just instantly go, okay, this is the play where he's now going to go apps, so let's just run round Arch? Because they did that instantly. That's such a risky play, but it did just seem like Fnatic had OG's number in that round.
Ooh, Flusher able to survive and nearly dishes the fatal blow onto Mantu. Fortunate that they both survived that. The damage dropped. Looking to be the scourge of the CTs in apps. Currently, Krimz is laid in wait alongside Brolan. And yeah, as he said, Tom, we're seeing some very interesting slight tweaks coming into play. Just these split-second calls. We saw it on Train as well from Fnatic, to be fair. Constantly keeping OG on their tiptoes. And now here comes another aggressive play. It catches them completely unaware. MBK had a flash out, couldn't help his teammate. Tries to transfer that spray into the second play, but can't quite make it stick good enough for the kill. Mantu, right idea, just slightly off on the timing, and Fnatic will have a plant. Additionally, The wraparound player of Man2 has been crunched by JW's AK. Krimz, perfect headshot. Won't expect the second player. Gets punished, but now Velda's position is known, and he must pull back with the AK.
Yeah, I think part of that is because he doesn't have a kit. At the same time, Valde's been so good so far. I really would have liked to see him give this a go. I know, of course, like, if you're playing percentage Counter-Strike, this is the right play to be making, like making sure that you keep yourselves the extra finances. You make sure that at least Valde and maybe a couple of others can have a buy going into this next round with a loss bonus. At least okay, or at least coming back, I guess you could say, for OG. But even still, that extra gun, well, actually it could. If he like drops maybe a FAMAS or an SMG over to Alexi B, that can be the difference maker. So yeah, you know what? Fair enough. That makes sense.
(16-6), 16-11, and now Fnatic leads 7-5. Only our first best of 3 for these two teams. And it's already proved to be every bit as entertaining as we expected. There's plenty more over the duration of the next couple of weeks. Roland with his AK perfectly placed to thwart the push from MBK and Issa. They tried to fight fire with fire, but they got burnt. And Fnatic may have to deal with a third player showing his hand. It's Man2 who has dropped the bomb down, but there was no escape. Roland will never let him survive. With those kills, OG likely save, and Fnatic go from strength to strength.
Nothing you can do after that. I like the proactive play coming out of the side of OG, not happy to just sit back and relax. It is also, I want to point out, like I think it's very easy to forget at this point that Roland's only 18 years old. The read he had in this round couldn't have been more spot on. Like, if that happens to me in a matchmaking game, that guy's getting reported within 3 seconds. Like, that might just be my salt levels being very high. Like, let's not go through and look at the amount of people I've reported over time. But he holds the angle. Fair enough. Like, maybe you expect a bit of aggression in this round. But he's ready for 2 players and then predicts exactly where Man2's going to go as well. Like, the guy is in their head at this point, and while you can see the T's, they're looking to hunt down some of these remaining weapons. Their money's decent at this point. Valde, I think he's just about going to survive. It's a bit awkward towards the end, but he keeps the gun, and that's what matters most.
Yeah, this is just excellent game sense. And I think it's maybe kind of mitigated a little bit by the fact that because OG have conceded so many rounds now, in a row, like I think it's 3 in a row, but before then they'd lost a couple rounds prior as well, and their economy's never really been in great shape, never felt fully confident. That Fnatic anticipate these kind of desperation, these kind of aggressive plays. We saw OG early on push down middle, push down banana. Well, Fnatic, they won't be fooled twice. They will be waiting for these pushes. They have a vast lead. Now the pressure's on OG. They have to show that they're capable of winning another 2 rounds. You know, and Fnatic are just effectively sitting back and saying, come at us then, like, we're fine with this. Russia, nothing passive about the start to this. How is he still alive? MBK just shot a perfect circle around him.
All in all, this has still gone pretty well, though, for OG. Like, sure, that was a little bit dicey, but now Valde's actually given them a man advantage. They've got to be careful, though. I thought Valde for a second was actually going to rotate, and actually, to be fair, he still is. He might get caught. Second mid for Krimz. I don't know how he knew he was there, but, well, he's used the power of the dome, it seems. There's now only 2 men remain for OG. It's not a round that Fnatic should be losing, but, well, we've said that a couple of times throughout this match. At the same time, I think Brolin, again, has everything to do. If he walks into this B site, doesn't even need to kill anyone. He's won them the round. That's it. If he starts to second guess himself and maybe they think there's someone elsewhere, then this round could potentially go to OG. But it looks like, again, Fnatic have got this spot on.
Yeah, pushed and prodded by the time itself in order to get hasty with their decision-making. Post-plant, OG will be saving. As a result of their save, they will concede a 9th, but they will have a good purchase in the last round of the half. But considering that Fnatic got blitzed on Mirage, 16-5, I believe it was, 16-6, somewhere around that mark, to come back, win Train pretty one-sided in the end, and then have this good of a T-half, like, you got to give these guys credit. What a turnaround.
Yeah, and in true Fnatic fashion as well. Again, watching like some of the streams, I think Sponge pretty much hit the nail on the head, saying that if Fnatic are in the lead, they're very good at letting it slip. If Fnatic are losing, they're very good at bringing it back. And I still remember some of the runs we've seen from them in the past. I think they managed to play almost every single map humanly possible in some of the tournaments we've seen from them, because I don't know, maybe they just need a kick up the backside every once in a while, but it seems like when they do, well, that's when they're truly feared. I guess it's always like the sort of thing of like getting a feral animal in the corner. Like the second you do, that's when it attacks. And Fnatic done more than that. 9. Are you serious? You'd think out of all the people, I don't know if many people remember this, but Golden got absolutely rinsed for using an auto sniper in a grand final once, which they won. That hasn't deterred him. He's pulled it out on Inferno.
It's honestly a legit weapon. The issue is it's just very costly. So for a situation like this where you can get an AK, trade across as he just has, look at the damage he's done to Alexi at the top of Banana.
I'm enjoying it, but yeah, I feel like there's going to be someone saying, you shouldn't be doing that. It's not proper Counter-Strike. Well, I like it. I enjoy it. It's variation, it's difference, and then from what we've seen over the last few months of Counter-Strike, with tournament after tournament, some variation is wonderful. 4-man stack though, Vince, on this A site. They are more than prepared, but there is a lot of time left for Fnatic if they want to make a move. And what, maybe they're just going to run straight through. They've left MBK completely blind. Nothing he can do, and it's down to the 2 players in the pit and the rotator of Issa.
So many flashes on MBK. Poor guy, never saw a thing. And now Man2, the back of the site, needs to explode into action, but instead they absorb all the bullets and soak enough up for their demise. Velda 1v5, healthy, and has the first kill under his belt, but may get wide swung. Next frag does go his way, but there is JW, and there is the 10-5 half. Excellent work by Fnatic. We'll see if they can convert it into a third map, but first a break.
Out the oven, I'm piping hot. Get too close and you might get shocked. Told everybody sit back, just watch while I climb all the way to the top. Oh no, I can't just pass by, cause my electric glow, it shines too bright. And everywhere I go, I catch all eyes. They must have never seen a goddess in plain sight. Ooh, want too much for you. A whole lot of power in these high heel shoes. Ooh, shining how I choose, cause I rule the world and my girls do too. Too much for you. You're gonna need shades to enjoy this view. Ooh, shining how I choose, cause I rule the world and my girls do too. Excuse fresh out the oven, I'm sparkling. Lighting up every room I walk in, so intelligent, all I do is win. Didn't hear me before, let me say it again. No, 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 I can't just pass by, cause my electric glow, it shines too bright. And everywhere I go, I catch all eyes. They must have never seen me light up the night sky. Night sky. Ooh, want too much for you. A whole lot of power in these high heel shoes. Ooh, shining how I choose, cause I rule the world and my girls do too. Ooh, want too much for you. You're gonna need shades to enjoy this view. Ooh, shining how I choose, cause I rule the world and my girls do too. Excuse me while I take the flow. Spotlight shining, it's my show. And you gon' let me a little bit more.
It was neck and neck at one point in our third deciding map, and then the guillotine came down, and Fnatic's win streak continued. 10-5 lead for the Swedes after a pretty awful start to this best of 3. And if they are successful in this pistol, good things should follow. A lot of damage early on. HE tossed in, nearly finishes off JW, but Mantu, Issa, and Velda all struggling. And Broland CZ breaks the deadlock, breaks the neck of OG. Issa up close, he gets dispatched as well. It's a rapid round, and it's all going the way of Fnatic. How is Broland still alive? Finally gets closed down by the hands of Alexi, but the damage from the young Swede has been massive. And now Alexi has to try and traipse his way into a potential clutch. He's been spotted, no reason for Flusher to overstay his welcome, just needs to survive. Alexi will try and push the envelope as much as possible. Fake as if he's still running down Speedway. I actually love this play, but Flushes, he's been around for too long. You're not gonna outgame him that easily. Alexi still has the bomb though, still can run to the site and at least keep the options of OG available. If nothing else, they'll have the options to get some Galils or Mac-10s in play for the next round. But now, maybe he could just go one step better. Up close, JW, low HP, playing the off angle. Alexi will not be hiding behind any corners. Feels like he has to go in for some aggression. The timing on that flash is pretty brutal for him, but still lands the first headshot. Well, actually just finishes JW, who was headshot earlier on. Flashbang. Faked with the decoy. Oh my God, Tom, I just began to believe as Krimz put him down. What a beautiful effort, though.
Going to be pretty close, but I think Krimz has got this. Yeah, that is a wow. That's more than a nice try. That's a great try coming out from the likes of Alexi B. I'll be honest, when he got the bomb down, I was like, well done. Like there wasn't really a scenario where I saw him getting that much work done. This is a festering pile of BS from Broden. How he gets this third kill, I have no idea. They were chasing him down and he was reloading, and we all know that the CZ sucks when it comes to reloading. So don't know how they managed that. But then again, bomb plant, couple of kills. That means Alexi B gets to pull out the AK-47. The rest of the team with a couple of Galils, some SMGs. This round's not looking too bad for OG. Now, obviously, winning the pistol would have been fantastic. It would have set them up for this half. They win this second round, they're in just as good a position, if not better, because the money will be racked. And that's one hell of a start. Alexi B back with a vengeance. And MBK, he's not actually spotted anyone. This might be a bit of a false positive, but never mind. This is still holding the line. The retreat, however, doesn't go too well. And sure, the bomb will go down. Sure, the B site's under the control of OG, but the retake will surely be attempted.
And this is precisely why Alexi just getting the bomb plant, never mind that 1v3 attempt, which was so well done, is so important, because it gets them AKs, it gets them weaponry to actually stand and fight against the Swedes. And our Krimz, alongside Broland, have got to try and retake. The flashbang doesn't really do them any good, and Valda with the peek gets one, but does get shut down by Krimz, and Alexi from the back pounces. And it's only fitting that it's Alexi with a 3K that gets them their 6th round after that previous beautiful attempt.
I mentioned it in the last map. Someone like Azza, you watch him, and every once in a while he's called upon to win his team a round that they need. Alexi B almost did it in the pistol. He's now done it in round number 2. Now the problem is, this isn't over. Like, this force by war doesn't end until one team ecos, and Well, I'm telling you now, Fnatic have not ecoed. They've gone in with a reinvestment. So we can sing the praises of Alexi B, but at the same time, their money still got wrecked. They still lost 3 players in that round. And while if they lose this one, they're right back down the toilet again.
But they've dangled that carrot close enough, additionally, Tom, that if Fnatic were to concede this round, they are flat out broke, and OG have every chance at closing the gap. And then it's even more pressure on that next rifle round that will be coming up. But we'll find out if that comes into play, because there's still over a minute on the clock. No players have fallen, albeit Krimz tagged around a third of his HP. So OG in pretty good shape. Still have 3 smokes for an execution. Brolan, we've already seen what this guy is capable of with the CZ in the pistol round, and now he's playing up close behind the boxes. If one of these angles goes uncontested or unchecked, he will punish them, smoking off onto library, affording them the luxury of pushing up. Golden has the right idea, and JW, it's his CZ that claims the first. Time is starting to dwindle away. So many smoke bangs are being attempted from Fnatic, but Brolan's life has been ended, and in the blink of an eye, JW and Golden join him on the bench. And it doesn't seem like Fnatic are too keen on going for the retake anymore, and considering the economy is in tatters, they would do well to save these 3 guns. There's 2 Deagles, they can drop one of these across to their teammates and still have a little bit of firepower to play with.
Definitely got scary. As I said, there's no real easy rounds for OG from this point forward. But that force buy victory was everything. They've now put themselves in a position where this game's workable. Like that, they lose that prior round, you're looking at Fnatic on what, like 12, 13, 5 before we actually get a buy up from OG. I like this squad, but I don't believe they're bringing that one back. 11-7 though, that's a very different ballgame. And the fact is, there's not going to be much in this round from Fnatic. In fact, they almost have to save everything they can to make sure that they are going to have a decent purchase into the next round. And, well, the loss bonus, as you can see on your screen, is only going to be 2,400, which most maps, that's okay. On Inferno, not really. We might even still see an SMG just to make sure that they have all the incendiaries and HEs they need for Banana. So this is a chance, really, for OG to get the momentum rolling and get themselves right back in this map.
Precisely where that last buy from Fnatic can have a serious consequence and reverberate for the next 2 or 3 rounds. OG were ruthless on Mirage. They took their foot off the accelerator on train and they were punished. And now it seems like they're going in the right direction. Fnatic in pole position still, but they're not quite cruising the same way they were just a few rounds prior. Krimz waiting behind the smoke. 4-player stack on Fnatic towards the B side of the map. This could get a little bit sketchy for OG, but Krimz starting to back away. Still has his eyes on B. Still close enough to make a real go of this. And now the hail of Molotovs start firing in. Raining fire towards the site. Golden gets one. Oh, and JW's been fully burnt down. I think he was waiting for the T's to start to push in, but he waited too long. And suddenly, Fnatic only have 2 players left. You felt like maybe there was a way when they walked into that quad stack. But instead, it's OG that have got the bomb planted, and Mantu make short work of Roller. Maybe Krimz will stay around a little bit longer. It's not like he has Kevlar to save. He's only got a scout, and realistically, with a full buy, do you want a scout in Inferno? Probably not. So if he can get a kill on his way out, that would be nice. But the round's over, Tom. Like, Fnatic seemingly like they're starting to struggle here.
Even Valde taking a bit of a risk just to almost go for that BM play to kill him off at the end, make sure that he had nothing going into the next round. You know what? He's having a damn good match. Exactly when they need him. 19-11, top in the server, even though, well, as we've seen over the last few rounds, they have been losing. Krimz hot on his tail, and this is what I was talking about. This is the buy. Like, this isn't great. Like, you've got Brolan on a FAMAS, Flusher on a UMP, which, although in the past has been fantastic, it's not a gun that you want to see so much in competitive Counter-Strike. And then Golden on his trusty MP9. So this is not even close to being a good buy for Fnatic. Whereas on the other side of things, OG, even though this is still technically more of a bonus round, they have full rifles.
I wonder how many teams that were a bit more conservative, obviously we know Fnatic aren't, but how many of the teams have actually gone into a half buy considering they still had a lead to afford them that AWP in the hands of JW? Doesn't really matter. And to add to that, they've got the first kill in the round anyway. So they have been rewarded for their courage of going for this very hit or miss buy, and JW will be taking this as free reign, as a bit of incentive to play aggressively, but he does get punished. He has caught them off guard enough, though, to tag Issa down significantly, and a second player pushed in to neutralize one of OG. It's a 4v3. It's a bit of a chaotic round, but OG still just about in this.
Thing is, while all this chaos was going on, Golden, he's got himself into a position which acts as an early alarm system. He hears all the footsteps. He knows that they're coming this way. Rotations began. He gets one. That's more than enough. He even switches guns. What? How does he get away with that? It should have been a trade much quicker. He was juggling while they were pushing. And well, of course, that means that Flush is ready with open arms for Issa to round that corner. Great work from Golden. A fantastic round overall from the side of Fnatic. And now, well, it's crunch time once again. Plenty of money in this round at least. But how does he get away with that?
Yeah, I can only assume because the players were pretty low, they were scared about him just holding left click with the MP9, but it's pretty unbelievable, isn't it? Oh, look at how many mollies tossed down middle. That's going to sting if Alexi stayed in there for very long. It does keep on the back foot. I mean, look at the positions of OG. They're stuck. They're stuck back on T steps and the HE behind it. They've just been chunked. All of this damage you see is just purely from HEs and mollies. Not a single bullet's been exchanged between the two teams. Now that's going to change. Golden playing up close with the MP9, but has Flusher just behind him. They'd love to have a flashbang to at least stall this, but they decide to just back off instead.
Yeah, the fact is, Fnatic will have absolutely no idea how much damage they've been able to do with these nades, but they've definitely put themselves in a good position. Now they lay down an extra smoke just to delay further, although that's the last like heavy hitting piece of utility that Fnatic have, at least on this site. You do have, of course, a Molotov and a smoke available if it does come down to a retake, but JW couldn't be further away. So although they've done good damage, there's still a lot still to do. Golden, he doesn't get anything done, and Flusher spraying wildly has managed to find the opener. Golden repositioning has pretty much stumped this push, and it's quite disjointed, it's quite delayed, and Golden, how is he still alive? It's again another round where he just seems to be getting away with murder. This close smoke is going to help him out, and although he's finally dropped, it should be too little too late. A 1v3 Mantu to try and turn the tide.
At least healthy. Options limited, though. Feels like he has to go in. He gets that kill clean. Clean as could be. And tags JW. He's still in this round. He goes back out for another peek. He's trying to catch Fnatic in transition in an awkward spot. Flashbang and smoke there to greet him. Now, they both have kits. They hold down on it. He had the right lineup, but JW holds down with the M4, and OG do concede again. It has been such a scrappy T half. Very entertaining, but OG not exactly filling us with a lot of confidence.
No, I'm really surprised that with two players there, like Golden just seems to be a miracle worker with how he's able to survive. Like, it's not even necessarily about whether or not he gets kills, which, by the way, he has been. But it's more so just, he's just a pain in the arse. It's like he just won't go down. He won't, like, just fall over and die. He stays alive for a ridiculous amount of time. And if anything, I feel like he just played perfectly around the T-side smokes while they were trying that take. So he bought enough time for rotations, took two players down with him. You really can't ask for more from the in-game leader. And, well, he's definitely called a fantastic game. If he's now putting up some numbers as well alongside the rest of the roster, I worry for OG. And, well, Vince, this buy, it sucks.
It most certainly does. But with the SMGs, it does allow them to be a little bit more mobile on the approach. Flush has been tagged down, softened up for those SMGs to maybe tear him to pieces, but he's playing in an off angle you don't anticipate. It's a one and done scenario though, and now Krimz shows up through the smoke. He sprays, Issa just about holds on for dear life, but he's still able to pillage the site. They're hoping to torch it and raise it down with the bomb. And now all of the emphasis switches from the Ts back onto the CTs. Health-wise, they're certainly ahead. More utility, better firepower. It's going to be a rough ask for OG, but they've got some interesting positions. Mantu up on the boxes. Valda having shots from Banana, trying to draw away the CT's fire towards his location, and Mantu gets 2. Brolin now has to pull the plug and back away. OG pull this off, and Brolan will not live to tell the tale.
Was superb after plant as well. And I want to point out that I criticized OG for not being able to get the entries in the last round. The early stack that was here for Fnatic, I think they had 3 players initially and a 4th that got in before the Ts actually took the site. So there was almost a 4-man stack on B going into that round, and OG managed to get pretty much every single opener. That is a superb round from them. And I don't even think that was necessarily like, oh, they got the call on point or anything like that. That was just the individuals performing to a really high standard when they were needed. Mantu, well, the bait for him was perfect, but the shots, that was what won them the round. And now, well, you see how close some of these rounds really have been. His previous attempt did a lot of damage in the clutch. That also seems to be a bit of a running theme for us so far in this half, is if somebody almost clutches around, the next round they do, which that's normally peculiar, because if anything, if you fail at winning a clutch, that should be demoralizing, but it seems to just pump up whichever player it is.
Yeah, should be demoralizing, and it also should, in theory, more often than not, hurt the economy to a point where you'd be down to pistols. But we've seen so many rounds with pistols come out ahead, or at least get incredibly close. And of course, as I say that, JW shows firsthand what I'm talking about. MBK sent reeling off. That's an AK that also trades hands. The downside for Fnatic, there's no Kevlar to put that behind. Alexi nearly finishes off onto JW's very low HP bar. 30 seconds though, Tom. This is getting incredibly close. And the problem for Fnatic is they may very well take down Alexi through the smoke, but all of the emphasis is being put on B site. And Alexi is still alive. Still alive and still dishing out punishment. OG will pick up a 10th.
I'm not really sure how he's still alive. He definitely should be dead, but... wow. A little bit of cheeky utility usage and lurking his way through smokes has actually got him away with a couple of kills, and more importantly, he stopped any extra weaponry from being retrieved. So OG will take this one. It definitely did feel a bit uncomfortable along the way. And again, not one to necessarily be critical of like an individual player all the time, but there have definitely been moments where you kind of look at MBK around the apartments and he's given away a few kills and a few weapons, as if Alexi goes down after all that. But he's giggling at least.
At least he's got a smile, even if it's just hiding the pain. But he has to focus now on the task at hand. He knows, levity aside, his team trail by 3, and Fnatic will more than likely have another buy coming up. So eyes and mind set forward. Flusher has more headshot kills in Pro CS than Mantu has kills in Pro CS. That is a pretty outrageous statistic, but it makes sense. I mean, Flusher has been around for so long.
Yeah, that is mental. I guess obviously Mantu is relatively new on the scene, but he's still been playing like at lower levels, I guess you could say, for quite a while. I suppose Flusher does have an extra 4 years on him, so we'll see if that's still the case over the next few. Then again, I don't think Flusher's going anywhere anytime soon. Still able to put up a performance, but OG, they've actually forced Fnatic into what is more of a double eco scenario. Not content with the purchase they would have got going into this round, so they've decided to half buy. However, JW does have an AK. Now, it's not been his most lights out performance, but at the same time, you give this man some freedom. Well, who knows what he'll do with it.
Somewhat surprising, because I feel like they were on almost an identical position earlier on. And I posed the question, how many teams would have saved? They didn't that time, but they have this time. So I wonder if it's a case of just the scoreline getting a little bit closer Getting a little bit sweaty now for Fnatic, and they know if they went in for a force and they conceded, that is a golden opportunity for OG to potentially even tie us up at 13 apiece. They still have enough, though, to make this sting. And they're looking at Krimz to get up close with his MP9 on middle. OG typically have tried to take middle control fairly early on. This time they're much slower. 40 seconds left, and the bomb over on mid can start to wrap back towards B. Actual fact, Issa's just dropped it. So someone needs to go back. They're now throwing the nades in. Krimz with one. And keep in mind the time. Keep in mind where the bomb currently sits. Krimz has got a second. They still have to go back, pick up the bomb, and then successfully put it towards the B side. The Krimz at range with the MP9 actually dinked Mantu and put him down to 19 HP. Flusher has the right idea and the perfect timing on that. Must have heard the footsteps. The bomb's gone down again. Now MBK can shut him down in the back, but Flusher has picked up another kill. There's not enough time for MBK. Fnatic get it done.
Oh no, OG. The comeback was on. Like, it was beginning. They'd started to streak rounds together, and oh my goodness, Krimz is having a worldie of a game. But that play from Flusher, like, the thing is as well, you have to notice in the moment, I think he realized he could kill Alexi B, and he leaves him. He leaves him to go and waits for the bomb to come on the cross. Obviously, it's a little bit of luck that Mantu's so desperately low already, but he played that to perfection. And while I mentioned that this guy's got a few years left in him for sure, that is why. An incredible round, a pick on the start. This could be the end of OG the way things are going. They're trying to push the smoke one by one. They're having duels. Oh, they've been caught without guns. But still, MBK is only going to clap a one to the floor. JW can't quite kill off Issa, but the pre-fire from Krimz, even while blind, is enough. It's on to Mantu. He's had multiple clutches with differing results. Question is, do you believe in this one, Vince?
The way he's been playing, I do believe in him. The problem is, though, that Fnatic have so much utility. Look at this. 3 incendiaries, 2 smokes. They can lock down so many angles without even checking them themselves. Just toss an incendiary at the pit to mini pit towards the apps area. Enough time has elapsed, though, that Mantu maybe can just line up the spray. It is planted in default, which is easily defended from this very position. So this is doable, but Flusher goes in. And the issue is, when there's that many incendiaries put down, it kind of messes with your sound a little bit. So as far as he was concerned, they may have even already got on the bomb. He had to go for that peak, and in doing so, he gave himself up in a vulnerable spot. Nice try, but Fnatic, 5 match points.
Yeah, I think the other point to mention as well is, even if he doesn't hear anything, if he lets them get onto the bomb, there's someone holding him.
Exactly.
Like he's in an obvious spot in reality. So he had to try and make a play. This time it doesn't work out. He got a bomb plant. That's something. Oh, look at the buy. That pistol win is like really kicked them while they're down. They've now got very little left in the bank, and it comes up in the form of 3 Tech 9s, a couple of Galils. Hey, they've got some utility, but it's a pretty bleak silver lining. By the looks of it, they're going back to something that has worked. After plants on B have been a fair few for OG. They've been able to make these rounds work facing off against Flusher and Golden, but at the same time, Flusher's had a couple of worldy rounds. The last one with the AWP, previously just a P250. And as mentioned, Golden has been very difficult to kill.
It's such a difficult to read team, Fnatic, because they have so many people that can pick up the orb, but never mind that, because OG are deciding that they will live or die on this very push. And Alexi B will be their executioner. Tech 9 in hand, just rushes straight through. Mantu's getting tagged down through the coffins, but it's nothing too significant. And it seems like OG, with just raw, ruthless aggression, uncontrolled, unleashed onto the site, will be successful for the time being. The question now, do Fnatic want to go for this retake? Because their funds are in a position where they could feasibly go for another buy, even if they lose a weapon or two. But they could also post up outside and let the bomb do most of the work for them. It seems like they will be going for it momentarily. Brolan takes a flash to the face, and now Issa tries to hold the line with a Galil. It's back and forth, it's chaotic, and it goes the way of the OG team. They get it done. Just absolutely eviscerating Fnatic.
Yeah, I'm not a fan. Like, I guess maybe Fnatic were hoping that they sort of left their afterplant positions thinking they weren't going for it, but there was so little time left on the clock that by the time they actually went for the retake, they almost had to be on the bomb. Like,
yep.
It was so risky, and more importantly, it's not even just the argument of, oh, do we want to, like, okay, whatever, just derail my point completely. But you've given them weapons. That's what I was gonna say. I'll just cut it short. You've given them some extra guns, as well as having a boost their economy by winning an eco round, and you've destroyed your own. Doesn't seem worth it. Issa, clinical as ever, has found JW for free. He may have been alongside Flusher as he got a cheeky opener. And look at this once again. This is something Fnatic have been doing all the way through the map. They love a cheeky stack. Seems to be right. That's the weird thing.
Got some excellent calls with maybe a little bit of fortune as well. OG walking into this. Krimz slightly off with his D. A kill that very well could have propelled Fnatic into a round-winning position. Arch is smoked off. Broland, big dig. That's a bomb that gets dropped as well. Can he rinse another one? Not quite. Laying waste to the oncoming T's. Now knows there's a player just above him, which is MBK. Flush has made no noise. He has kept his position completely stealthy, playing incognito. Flusher, oh my god, that last dig is disgusting. And it's a 4K for Flusher, and it's Fnatic coming back from a 1-0 deficit to win 2-1.
The heartbreak as well for OG is the last 2 rounds that they lose are both based off of pistols. You got to feel bad for them, like the dirty digs coming out from Flusher. In fact, he got 2 kills through the smoke in the other round that they won. But that's the thing. Again, we spoke about Shocks earlier in the day. We'll speak about Flusher now. When he's having one of his games, nothing you can do.
Man, some of those deagles, he actually starts the round with a 1 dig and it like took your breath away and basically derailed your entire point, and then just finishes off with another 2 crazy digs. Like, the guy was AWPing, deagling, rifling. You can do everything he wants.
Well, either way, that is it for the series. I can't believe it, to be honest. Fnatic, up to this point, have struggled to take any map other than Inferno. This time, they take the victory in the first match of Group A. Of course, we are going to have the desk coming back after what is a short break to break that one down.
It was a series that promised to deliver, and it certainly did on every single front. Signed and sealed by Fnatic to end out this best of 3, and they continue their dominance on Inferno to end it out. And Potter, they managed to claim sweet, sweet revenge over OG for that series at IEM New York just a mere few days ago.
Definitely. And man, Fnatic, they know how to get your heart racing, because there were many moments, and this round in particular, I can't believe that Flusha in a 1v1 with just a deagle after he picks up his op decides to, yeah, why not? I'm going to go for the 1D. Meh, no big deal. But Flusha makes it work, man. And that's the danger out of these Fnatic guys, is they're not phased at all. They know that even under those high pressure situations, what it takes to win out those rounds, that's the experience kicking in and kicking through. And so Fnatic, they made it work.
Yeah, I love that you bring up that experience element from the Fnatic side, because Maui, we saw so many moments, particularly towards that end of that third map, where Flusher, he just looked so confident. There were rounds that he definitely not have turned in Fnatic's favor.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Flusha was super impressive all series, and Krimz as well. It felt like they were the dynamic duo for Fnatic in this game. You don't always know from Fnatic who you're going to be finding your frags from. Sometimes it's Golden lighting up the scoreboard, sometimes it's JW with his aggressive hopping, Brawlin especially with his just massive anchor holds. But today, Krimz and Flusha just kind of on those rotator positions a lot of the time. We're constantly just picking the right spot to be at the right time.
Yeah, it's always fantastic to see a vintage duo coming out here. And I think Tom made a really good point within the game. He was talking about, sure, Inferno might be one of OG's best maps, but historically, Potter, they have always struggled to take a win away from Fnatic on this one. So I'm wondering, where were the holes for you in terms of OG's performance coming into this, considering they have faced each other a fair few times on this map?
Yeah, definitely. And it's the strange part, right? Because before this Inferno happened, I would have argued that their T side has been lacking. But when I took a look at their stats, it's very neck and neck. 52% win rate, I believe, on the CT side of things. And surprisingly, a higher percentage win rate on their T side of things. Now, historically, over the last 2 Inferno matches, OG have struggled on their T side. Today, it was a little bit more about their CT side story. I'm not sure exactly how to pinpoint the issues because Valda had so much success actually, even towards that B, winning out majority of his opening duels, just really handling the business down all of that long banana area. But Fnatic, as I mentioned, they've just got this flair sometimes, that free loose style. It did not work out at all on Mirage, but on Inferno, it did.
Yeah, it's incredible to see how it can win it for them. And with that noise, that means we have a very special guest joining us up here. Of course, it's Krimz. Man, thank you so much for taking the time to speak to us. Can you describe how you're feeling now that you've managed to claim some revenge over OG for that loss to IM New York?
Obviously, it feels good to get some revenge. Yeah, feels pretty good.
Yeah, it was incredible to watch a rivalry that we've definitely loved to see brewing. I do want to ask about Train, though, specifically, because last time you faced OG on that map, you unfortunately lost. It was very, very close. So what specifically were you changing within the team coming onto that map?
We didn't change much, actually. We felt that we didn't play our own game last time fully. So we just played our game and worked out this time.
Krimz, I had a question about the look you guys gave today on Inferno. It looked like you guys are incorporating actually a few more set plays as opposed to just this default heavy style. Is that something you guys have been prioritizing in your boot camps?
I mean, Golden has some plans and some rounds that they want to do, like impulsive. I guess that's one way to call it. But one big thing that we had in mind was just to have a little more fun and just trust each other. And yeah, it obviously worked out that way.
Speaking of a little bit more fun, I have to ask on this Inferno, we were wondering, you dropped the SG over to Broland. Was that an accident? Did he call for that? Was that a misbuy? What happened there?
Actually, I misbuyed it.
Just having fun.
He had a pleasure to play it.
And in terms of you guys, obviously you're currently together in a team house together. How long has that been happening for the team?
We arrived here yesterday. So this is the second day.
Fresh.
Oh, interesting. Yep. Okay. So what was the reaction like? I just want to ask about that final round on Inferno, because Flusher was taking some mean angles. What was the reaction like when he managed to close it out at that point?
I mean, Flusher doing Flusher things, I guess.
I think that's the best way to put it, Krimz. Thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us. Of course, we'll be seeing you in the future here. DreamHack Open Fall.
Thank you.
Lovely stuff there from Krimz. Actually interesting, because we were talking about this in the green room. We were speculating whether or not Fnatic had been together actually at IEM New York around a week ago. But actually, Christine, coming into it, it's only been a day. So already showing some improvements in their form.
Absolutely. And we talked about it, what kind of momentum, how far rather is this momentum going to be able to take Fnatic? Because that summer lull that you mentioned, Freya, it had been quite some time. I believe the last time that Fnatic actually placed high in a tournament was back in March. So the entirety of the summer, it's been a bit of a dry spell for these Fnatic guys, but this is the up and up. Krimz hitting on all cylinders. Flusha, you can see his brain bulging out of his forehead. So these guys, they're looking hot to trot.
I'm so happy to see the return of Fnatic, and I'm also happy to take a look at our updated group standings. Of course, there have been other matches going on whilst we've been focusing on the Group A action. G2 actually managing to get that win over Godsend, which, as we can see from the Group B standings, that puts them up pretty highly. I feel like, Maui, that isn't really much of a surprise, especially considering, Thomas departing Endpoint being a staple of that lineup.
Yeah, Endpoint are always going to be lacking a little bit of firepower after losing him. Crucial still is a very serviceable player for their squad, but Thomas was just that super solid rock rifler. He's kind of like, in my opinion, kind of what Rain is for FaZe, and that he's just super consistent, can kind of fill a variety of roles, and really depending on what they need him to do in the round, Thomas was always there, but after losing him, it's going to be a little rough for Endpoint for a while.
Of course, this isn't all the action we have for you guys today. We still have one more best of 3 series left to get stucking our teeth into. And this time, it's time to shift our focus over to the Danes. It's the mighty Astralis. They may have claimed that world #1 spot from Heroic, but can they claim the next series? Find out after this.